mass protests in Budapest, Hungary against Viktor Orban, Donald Trump's buddy. We're seeing an international movement of pro-democracy against these despots like Orban and Donald Trump. I'll talk about what went down there in Budapest in just a moment, but I want to talk about what Donald Trump was doing while those protests were taking place. And as there was yet another mass shooting here in the United States, this time at Brown University, where a shooter who, as of this recording, has yet to be captured, he went into an economics study group for their finals and just started opening fire right there. Donald Trump then started going on social media to spread disinformation that the individual, that the shooter, that this terrorist was in custody, and that was false. While there was still an active shooting, Donald Trump was posting, I guess he was getting his information from incorrect sources on the internet, and Trump lied and said that he was briefed on the matter and said that the shooter is in custody, which was entirely false. And then Donald Trump had to say, actually, the shooter is still on the loose. And then he blamed the university and other sources for why he was posting that. But no, you said that you were briefed, Donald. You're the president of the United States. You're not supposed to be some internet troll making up things about school shootings to say that the shooter was in custody when they're not. And I just want to say this right now. You know, when there was actual gun control that former President Bill Clinton put in place regarding these weapons of war, mass shootings were down. The ban for these weapons of war expired under George W. Bush, and the right-wing Supreme Court has gutted any type of gun control, common sense gun control, which 70 to 80% of Americans agree with. And we're seeing the consequences of this now. Certainly you can say that mental health plays a component in it as well, which MAGA Republicans also want to defund. But let's not ignore that there's something that makes America different than anywhere else in the world, where there also is mental health issues. And it is the proliferation of guns and this culture that fetishizes guns here in the United States, where you have MAGA Republican Congress members wearing AR pins instead of American flag pins around Congress. And I think it's despicable. We shouldn't stand for it. We shouldn't normalize it. We need to call it out. By the way, that's what we do every day here on the MeidasTouch Network on this YouTube channel. Double check that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not be subscribed. So please hit subscribe right now. And by the way, you saw Donald Trump on that airplane, these weird photos of him from the back as he's tweeting out or posting out all this disinformation about the shootings. Let me reference what took place in that beginning of the video, those mass protests in Budapest. What's happening in Hungary is their authoritarian, their Putin bootlicker, Viktor Orban. He's up for re-election coming up pretty soon, and he's expected to lose that election. And the pro-democracy forces there, the pro-European forces are expected to win. The centrist party is expected to win. They have their own Epstein scandal basically in Budapest, the way Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans in America are involved in a PPP, pedo protection program. After pretending that they're the tough ones who are going to go after the traffickers, they end up being the ones who are covering it all up because, well, their potential involvement in a lot of this stuff as well. Well, in Hungary, they use those same types of talking points with their authoritarians, Orban, that he's against human trafficking and he's going to get the sex traffickers and all of that. But under Orban, their juvenile prison system has basically been turned into a child pedo prostitution ring and a abuse ring. And so that was exposed right there out of Budapest. That's what's led to these somber mass protests right there. And so I just find it fascinating that you have these authoritarians in the United States and in Hungary using the same playbook to weaponize the abuse of real victims while they themselves are the abusers, and they're both being exposed at the same time. Now, this also comes at a time where there are wars across the world right now, as Donald Trump, borrows a line from 1984, war is peace. And he goes, I'm the peace president. Give me peace this, peace that. I want Nobel Peace Prizes. And he has FIFA award him like some fake peace prize 2 weeks ago, which was so utterly weird and pathetic. All of Donald Trump's claims of ceasefires have been utterly fake. There's no ceasefire in Gaza. Israel and Hamas never signed any document at all. Israel never agreed to a two-state solution. Hamas never agreed to disarm. We've seen IDF killing innocent Palestinians every single day since the fake ceasefire deal, which our media here claimed was a peace plan, was announced. No, it absolutely wasn't. And then yesterday we saw Israel strike at what they claim to be a leader of Hamas without telling the United States. And there's an active war going on right now, right there every single day. You go to Thailand and Cambodia, where war is raging after Donald Trump posted, 2 days ago, that he got the ceasefire back on track. First, he took credit for a ceasefire 2 months ago when actually the U.S. had nothing to do with it. It was China and Malaysia that were involved in it, but Trump wanted credit for it without even understanding the dynamics between Thailand and Cambodia. Trump just wanted to be told that he did peace there. He actually made things worse. We've seen dozens of people in Thailand killed, probably 3 or 4 times that amount, maybe more, of Cambodians killed just over the past few days as the ceasefire has broken apart. By the way, 2 days ago, Donald Trump said he spoke with the leader of Thailand and Cambodia, and they agreed to the ceasefire again. Then Thailand had to put out a statement and say, there's no ceasefire right now. There's an active war taking place. Same thing as you look at Congo and Rwanda. Donald Trump says he negotiated peace there. Nope, you have the M23 Rwandan affiliated group in Congo. There's a raging war there every day. Donald Trump says that he was going to end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, and that's entirely false. We know that the war there right now is as bad as it's ever been. Russia escalating its attacks on civilian and commercial infrastructure. I mean, just in the 24 or 48 hours, attacking in Odessa, in that oblast region right there. You did have Ukraine score a massive victory, though, with its drone army pushing back against Russia's most elite Air Force unit. But war is raging on there as Donald Trump is allied with Putin and is trying to force Zelensky into a surrender. And just take a look at the United States votes in the United Nations just over the past 48 hours. The United States was the only country to take this vote. The United Nations just voted 153-1 on a resolution ensuring the safety and security of humanitarian workers and UN personnel across the globe. The only country voting against it, the United States, 153-1. Russia abstained, but the U.S. was the only country to vote against protecting UN humanitarian aid across the globe. Then a day before that, the U.S. joined with Cuba, China, Russia, and Belarus to vote against strengthening international cooperation and coordination of efforts to study, mitigate, and minimize the consequences of the Chernobyl disaster caused by Russia, because Donald Trump is pro-Russia and he is a Putin bootlicker. Then I bring us to what's going on in Syria, where Trump and his regime falsely claimed at first that it was ISIS that engaged in this ambush against United States forces in the Palmyra region in Syria, but then actually it turned out that it was people very close with the current STG, the Syrian Transitional Government under Jilani, former leader of Al-Qaeda, who's now goes by a different name, Ahmed al-Shara. He's the president of Syria. He leads the STG, the Syrian Transitional Government. Well, his right hand is someone named Abu Jabbar Sufyan, and Abu Jabbar's lieutenant was the guy who ambushed the U.S. forces and killed the U.S. forces. So it was someone within the actual government that, you know, the one that Trump is coddling up to, because Trump goes, "Oh, you're so handsome. Can I spray you with perfume?" Remember what Donald Trump, remember how humiliating it was? We had the former leader of Al-Qaeda, who's now the leader of Syria, in the Oval Office. You remember how Donald Trump treated Zelensky and treats our European allies, who I guess aren't our allies anymore, and how evil he treats them in the Oval Office. But remember what he did when it came to Ahmed al-Shara, who went by Jolani, when there was like a $10 to $20 million bounty on his head because he was the leader of Al-Qaeda. Well, it's actually people close to that government that were involved in this ambush, and the United States, again, lied about that. So you just think about what I just shared with you. You have Trump spreading disinformation about the shooter in Rhode Island at Brown University, saying that the shooter was captured, not captured. Donald Trump claiming all of these ceasefires when they actually don't exist at all. And I've given you the facts and the exact evidence, receipts. We come with receipts here at the MeidasTouch Network. That's why make sure you're subscribed, because you're not hearing this stuff really anywhere else. So we're giving you the receipts and the facts. Then you have Trump saying, "Oh, it was some rogue ISIS people, and those were the people who killed the American forces in Syria." No, it was actually people very close to the government, the guy who you were spraying with cologne. Just to remind you, here was when Donald Trump sprayed the guy with cologne. Here, play this clip.
Men's fragrance. Yeah. This is what, you know. It's the best fragrance. Come here, man.
I have no one here, sir.
Okay. So what we'll do is just take that, Joe, put it in, and then the other one is for your wife. How many ones?
What for what?
You guys said never know, right?
And this is Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, when she was on this New York Post show with Miranda Devine, who's the host of this podcast. And then Caroline Leavitt's like, "Yeah, Donald Trump, he goes around spraying people with perfume. He sprayed the leader with perfume. That's so funny." This stuff isn't funny, folks. This is life or death. This is war and peace. This is famine or feeding people. Like this is the real world. And these clowns, these amateurs, these evil, malicious, dumb, you know what? I mean, the way they conduct themselves, to me, it's just so unprofessional and gross and weird. I mean, just watch Caroline Leavitt here play this clip.
The Syrian president came in, and President Trump sprayed perfume all over him. And I just wondered, like, did he smell?
No. Let me tell you, that happens all the time, not just with the Syrian president, but I've seen it with other foreign leaders. I've seen it with members of our cabinet, myself. He has a cologne and a perfume. Yes. He's just showing off his wonderful scents. He's very generous.
Right. Then you had to have the mayor in Providence. You had to have the mayor in Rhode Island right here, Providence, Rhode Island, say, you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there. You listen to what we're saying, not the disinformation. He's referring to Trump, that the president of the United States is the one spreading lies about a school shooting. Here, play this clip.
As I mentioned at the press briefing before this, I'll reiterate right now. In this day and age, there is a lot of misinformation that can spread as it pertains to official updates regarding the shelter in place or any future announcements. Please follow the City of Providence official social media channels. We've also put out updates through our 311 system, but the City of Providence on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram will be updating throughout the evening. If that did not come from an official channel, then it is not official. Right now, the shelter in place is the same as it had been earlier, and it remains the same.
And then they spread lies about everything. Look at the RFK Jr. effect. As of Tuesday, 1,912 cases of measles that have been reported. In 2025, Guess the increase in measles cases, because this is a spreader. This is a super spreader regime. The regime that promised you COVID would go away in 24 hours and lied about it and told you to inject yourself with frickin' horse tranquilizers or whatever the hell they said, or inject yourself with bleach or whatever the lies were. We now have a 14,608% increase in measles cases. A 14,000% increase. But folks, Donald Trump is focused on very important things as well. His big announcement over this weekend, I'm not sure if you heard it, that Donald Trump will be seizing control of all of the public golf courses in Washington, D.C. The 3 main public golf courses in Washington, D.C., Trump wants to make them Trump golf courses. So he just put a notice out saying that the golf courses are in default. He wants to appoint himself as the leader of the golf courses so that him and his rich oligarch friends can party in the Golden Ballroom and then golf at the Trump golf courses that he wants to take over in Washington, D.C. While the American people are living paycheck to paycheck, if they're lucky enough to even be getting a paycheck right now, being psychologically tortured by what this Trump regime is doing, while Americans can't afford homes, can't afford to pay rent, while prices are surging everywhere, while you have job losses up 54% year over year, meaning about 1.2 million jobs have been lost thus far. Pretty much we're at levels of Great Recession job losses. What Donald Trump is doing is posting disinformation about school shootings with people in custody when they're not in custody. He could have killed people as a result of that. And he's out there talking about taking over golf courses. How utterly horrific, disgusting, and evil is this, folks? Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. We appreciate your support. We're in this together. Let's push back against this regime. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.